Keynote address from Baroness Vere, Minister for Maritime and Transport, spokesperson in the House of Lords. She will introduce our afternoon subjects with her thoughts on clean maritime plan, decarbonising marine, UK shore, zero emissions vessels and infrastructure. So if we could now bring the video up, we'll start with the video. Thank you.
Hello, and thank you so much for inviting me to speak to you at your conference today. I am so sorry that I cannot be with you in person, but despite that, this is a fantastic opportunity for me to talk up and talk about the work of this vital industry. And so let me begin by saying a huge thank you to the Society of Maritime Industries for absolutely everything that you do. Yours is a very trusted voice, it is a very powerful voice. And, you know, to be frank, when you speak, people listen, and certainly people in government do. And we are very grateful for all the work that you've done to date and will continue to do. And also, I note that the conference is being held combined with the National Shipbuilding Office Symposium. Again, hugely welcome initiative, really spearheaded by Nusrat Ghani, my colleague in DBT. And I know that you will have spent a lot of time talking about it, about the refresh. And again, my thanks for all of the work that has gone into all of the task and finish groups and all the other work that's gone in as part of building the different projects that make up the National Shipbuilding Strategy. Now, what I want to turn to is one of the things that I think is probably at the top of my inbox and will remain at the top of my inbox for quite some time, particularly when it comes to maritime anyway, is decarbonisation, because it is a pressing issue, and we do know that it is going to be a very significant challenge. I know that we're up for it, but actually we need to start work now to see the fruits of our labours much further down the track. So since the pandemic, obviously I've seen firsthand how the sector has worked tirelessly to nurture the steady shoots of recovery. And so now it is very much moving into a period of renewal and renewables. So we need cleaner, more sustainable energy sources, and we are going to have to make some pretty big commitments. They're going to be big targets and big ambitions. It is a challenge to industry, obviously supported by government, to tackle its carbon footprint. And we need that ambition, because we all know that climate change is an existential threat to our lives, our livelihoods and the economy, and for some parts of maritime. It will be particularly acute, maybe as consumers change their purchasing behaviour. So we are taking very positive steps to tackle maritime's environmental footprint, and at the moment that is 3% of global emissions, but I think other sectors will decarbonise more quickly, and so the percentage of global emissions made up by maritime is going to grow. And again, that will mean that the spotlight falls much more on our industry. And I hope that if we are on the front foot when that happens, and we'll be able to point to all the work that we are doing. And indeed, it's not just about the work that we're doing, it's all about the opportunities that we will be bringing with the new technology and other interventions that we can do within creating that cleaner, that greener maritime sector. So we've got the Clean Maritime Plan, but I'm aware that it's a little dated now. And what we must do, and I would appreciate your help in this over the course of this year, is refresh that, so that when we get to the end of 2023, we have a very good, robust plan that we've worked on with the sector, because we've got a huge and long heritage and tradition of technical and technological innovation in maritime, and I think that's where we can start, and indeed we have already started, and then we need to create that pace, that momentum, so that we can use every ounce of talent within the sector to accelerate the growth of sustainable zero-emission shipping. Now, when I became Maritime Minister about 4 months ago now, I was very pleased to see the work that had been done, indeed the structures that were there, the money that was in a pot. So we've got the UK Shipping Office for Reducing Emissions, nationally called UK Shore, and they're really providing that overarching view of how we need to invest the £206 million that we have to make real progress in reducing emissions. And what's quite interesting is we are not only focusing on any particular part of the technological development route. You will have seen that we announced the Zero Emission Vessels and Infrastructure, the ZEVI competition, very recently, and that is £77 million of match funding for near commercial high technological readiness clean maritime solutions. So that's sort of very much at one end of the scale, and it focuses on vessels and shore together, which I think is one of the major challenges we have. But then at the other end, right at the very start, looking at investing £7.4 million worth of funding into a UK clean maritime research hub. Again, so important to address early research challenges, generate knowledge, share that knowledge as the sector develops clean maritime solutions. But we also know that I'm afraid it can't just be about the UK. We could do absolutely everything we can to reduce our emissions, but international emissions are really going to be at the forefront of my mind over the year ahead as well. So I'm very proud of the work that we did around COP26 and the work that we continue to do at the IMO in terms of corralling nations around, for example, the Clydebank Declaration, the Declaration on Zero Emission Shipping by 2050, and now it's really about action. So taking forward the promises under the Clydebank Declaration, designing and delivering a programme of UK green corridors, thinking about feasibility studies. We've done that within the second round of the Clean Maritime Demonstration Competition, which is the mid bit between research and the more technological advanced interventions. And I was very pleased at COP27 that we were able to announce our 3 bilateral agreements with the US, Norway and the Netherlands. And indeed, I met the Norwegian minister the other day and we discussed how we were going to take those green corridors forward. And actually, I learned quite a lot about how they are decarbonising, for example, their domestic ferries in Norway. I think we've got a lot to learn from them, and I'm sure that they will be very keen to hear what we're doing as well. So, we know also that, as I said earlier, technology is really at the heart of our maritime sector. We're good at it. We are really making huge progress in terms of shipbuilding. So I won't go into much more detail on that, but I do think that both for shipbuilding and for greening the maritime sector, skills are going to be key. They're going to be absolutely key. How do we get those people with the right skills, whether they are transferable skills from a different sector, or we're talking about young people coming out of school, coming out of college, coming out of university, because the challenge of decarbonisation and indeed technological development of maritime is only equalled by the fantastic opportunities there are for people in their careers. So I'm very keen to continue to work with the sector on skills and how we get the right ones in the right places at the right time. So that's enough for me, I think, because I'm sure you've got lots of fantastic things to do today and people to hear from. But once again, thank you for everything that you do. It is my honour to be the Maritime Minister. I'm enjoying it enormously. I'm always very willing to hear concerns, to hear about opportunities, but most of all, to hear about roadblocks. What can the government do to help you so that we all achieve our shared objectives? Enjoy the conference. Thank you very much.